Supervisor Fisher, would you lead us in an invocation?
Let's bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for this area that we live in and for the many blessings and everything that we have here before us and in our county and our state. And Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings on our country as we celebrated the 239th birthday. We pause to remember those who have given the supreme sacrifice for our freedom. Help us to use our freedoms in your service. And we ask for your guidance and direction in our work this evening for the citizens of Frederick County. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Vice Chairman DeHaven, would you lead us in a pledge of allegiance?
Stand and face the flag for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's my nomination.
Adoption of the agenda, Ms. Garten? Any changes?
No, sir.
All right. You have an agenda before you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Supervisor DeHaven. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Who was that? Supervisor Hess. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. The agenda is adopted. Consent agenda. Administrator Garten?
Yes, sir. We recommended agenda items under tabs A, D, F, H, and J for the consent agenda.
Now, you'll notice that A, for the first time, is a consent agenda. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I wanted everybody to know it was not my idea.
My thought was that the minutes are generally approved, and that if a board member was absent for that meeting, we would not put it on consent agenda because that member might wish to abstain.
It was a great idea.
Thank
It
you.
just wasn't mine. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Supervisor DeHaven. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Lofton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Agenda items A, D, F, H, and J are on the consent agenda. Next is citizen comments. Did anyone sign up?
No.
No, sir.
All right, Board of Supervisors comments, are there any? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Employee of the Month Award. Vice Chairman DeHaven, if you would accompany me, please. Grant Pearson, would you come forward, please? The Employee of the Month Award Program recognizes the county's employees as an important and valuable resource. On behalf of the Board of Supervisors, it is my pleasure to present Grant Pearson for consideration as Employee of the Month for July 2015. Grant, a firefighter, EMT, stationed at Middletown, is employed in the Frederick County Fire and Rescue Department. Grant is being awarded for going above and beyond his job as a firefighter, for regularly showing his compassion and support to a fellow volunteer, to include assisting with homework and serving as mentor and role model. The constant dedication that firefighter Pearson has to not only his job but also to this volunteer is to be commended. I'll now entertain a motion to approve Grant Pearson as Employee of the Month for July 2015.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Supervisor Hess. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Lofton. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Grant Pearson is hereby recognized as the Frederick County Employee of the Month for July 2015. The Board of Supervisors extends its gratitude to Grant for his outstanding performance and dedicated service and wishes him continued success in future endeavors. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda are the committee appointments. First is Historic Resources Advisory Board, and you have a recommendation before you on the table. I have two. Did anybody not get one? Probably I didn't pass it, or maybe there's more than that. I guess they're all stayed with me. There you go. Supervisor Ranson, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to have William Schuler appointed to the Historic Resources Advisory Board as a representative for Red Bud District.
All right, you have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor DeHaven. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. William Schuler is hereby appointed to the Historic Resources Advisory Board. Extension Leadership Council, Red Bud, are we ready?
No, sir.
Lord Fairfax Community College Board, did we reap any benefits from the advertisement that the county put out? Okay, I'm still working on a couple, but they're not looking real good. I did ask Mr. Tibbs if we got any hits to let me throw mine in the pot, but looks like we don't actually have any solid hits right now, so we'll keep looking. Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission. We have two Frederick County folks whose terms expire on 9/30/16 or 15. My assumption is both are willing to serve.
Yes.
What's the board's pleasure?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Supervisor Lofton to appoint Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Tierney. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Hess. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Next is Social Services Board, Stonewall. Are we ready?
Mr. Chairman, I have not been able to contact Ms. Marsh, but I certainly hope she'll accept reappointment, and would be my plan, but I'd like to check with her.
All right. Next is a resolution approving the issuance of bonds by the Economic Development Authority of the County of Frederick, Virginia for the benefit of Corrugated Container Corporation of Shenandoah Valley.
No, sir, you already
We did that on the consent agenda, my
did that on the
mistake.
consent.
Request for the Commissioner of Revenue for a refund. Now you're up.
Thank you. You have a request in your packet from the Commissioner of Revenue, Ellen Murphy, for a refund of $539.36 for real estate taxes in 2013 and 14 to refund to Brookfield Stevenson Village LLC. It's been verified by the Commissioner that it meets the requirements of the code and approved by the county attorney, and you are requested to make an appropriation for that refund.
Questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Supervisor DeHaven to approve the refund. Is there a second? Any appropriation?
Yes, and the appropriation.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Hess. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. The refund and appropriation are approved. Next is a request from the Frederick County Public Schools Finance Director for fiscal year 16 budget amendments, or adjustments, I'm sorry. Who will introduce this subject? Is that,
That's the matter that the board just discussed and with the school board, and I do have some suggested language for motions, should the board be inclined to do those actions.
would you like to hear the suggestions for the motion? Go ahead.
All right, the first request was for $1.2 million in design work for the fourth high school. And the board motion would be a general fund supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1.2 million from reserved school profit fund balance and a school construction fund supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1,200,000. And just for informational purposes, the school profit fund balance at this point is over $3 million.
Okay.
So there's sufficient funds in that.
Do you want to take them separately or all together?
I think separately would be best.
Do you wish to make a motion to approve that suggested wording?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Supervisor Fisher to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Wells. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Chairman votes aye, and the motion passes. Next.
The second item was a request for $1.5 million for anticipated costs related to the design of the 12th elementary school. And the suggested wording for the board action would be school construction fund supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1.5 million from school proffer funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Supervisor Hess to approve.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Lofton. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and the motion passes. Next.
And the third one is a budget adjustment for Armel Elementary School. The request is for a 2016 budget adjustment in the amount of $500,000 for that school addition and renovation project. So the actual motion would be to approve school construction fund supplemental appropriation in the amount of $500,000 from school proffer funds in the amount of $300,000 and from fund balance in the amount of $200,000. So that final $300,000 would deplete, except for $54,000, the amount in the school proffer fund. That's not part of the motion, that's just explanatory.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Supervisor DeHaven. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Fisher. Did you make the motion? I'm sorry. Supervisor Lofton made the motion. Supervisor Fisher made the second. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Chairman votes aye, and the motion passes. All right, we're down now to the Human Resources Committee report. Supervisor Hess?
Just one moment, I get to that. Mr. Chairman, the Human Resources Committee met on Tuesday, June the 25th. We have a couple of items requiring board action. The first item was already taken care of with the approval of the Employee of the Month Award for July. The second was a recommendation approved by the committee, or recommendation by the committee to the board to approve converting a part-time training secretary position in the Fire and Rescue Department to a full-time training secretary position. Included in your packet was a memo and a job description, and I so move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
Is that Supervisor Wells?
Correct.
Supervisor Wells makes the second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Next recommendation is to reclassify the volunteer coordinator position in Fire and Rescue Department to a public safety HR specialist and transfer the position to the Human Resources Department. This is a change from the original consideration at the previous HR committee meeting, and the committee unanimously recommended board approval, and I so move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Lofton. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And the final recommendation from the committee requesting board approval for the transfer of $47,734.65 from the Fire and Rescue Department's budget to the Human Resources Department's budget to cover the costs associated with the public safety HR specialist position, and I so move.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Wells. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Public Works Committee. Supervisor Fisher.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The Public Works Committee met on Tuesday, June 30th at 8 a.m. We received a request from the building official for a part-time inspector. The committee reviewed and unanimously endorsed a request from the building official, John Trineri, for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $15,000 to fund a part-time inspector to cover the absence of an inspector who will be on medical leave for a period of 8 to 12 weeks. there's attached documentation that gives reasoning for the request, and I would so move.
Here we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Hess. Discussion. All right, hearing none. Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Chairman votes aye and the motion passes.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Next is a public hearing rezoning 02-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This request is to rezone 20.54 acres from the B2 Business General District to the RA Rural Areas District. Now, this application is for a downzoning from the B2 district to the RA district. It's also being accompanied with a conditional use permit application, which will follow this application for an outdoor soccer complex. Now, the subject property is located east of the city of Winchester on the west side of Route 50, the south side of the intersection with West Parkins Mill Road. Now, this is the location map for the property. As you can see, it is shown in orange, which is the B2 zoning. You have Route 50 and West Parkins Mill. Now, the property was rezoned to the B2 district with proffers back in 1989. The rezoning included 23 acres of land. I would note, as I stated, that this is only for a 20-acre portion of that site, as a 5-acre property was subsequently cut out of it, which is still going to be split-zoned RAB2. So the downzoning proposed with this application is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The site does not have access to public water and sewer, and it is outside of the limits of the sewer water service area, and therefore at this time does not have rights to any public utilities. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezoning back at their May 6th meeting. So that concludes my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions, and there is a representative here from BRISA to answer any questions should you have them. Thank you.
Questions of staff?
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman. The approximately 5-acre lot with the house that had part of it zone B2, what again happens to that little?
That property remains as it currently is. It will continue to be split-zoned RAB2. It's, the residence was there when the property was zoned.
Right. So
It was-
is there technically really anything can be done on that property? I guess it's complicated.
It is complicated. I mean, the proffers will still run with that property that were in effect from the 89 zoning, but due to the size, it
Well, it sure leaves a spot out there in B2, doesn't it, all by itself?
does.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? Did the applicant wish to come forward? Who is?
If you have questions.
Perhaps I should ask if there are any questions of you before I had you get up. Are there any questions for the applicant? I guess I got you to get up for nothing. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll now hold the public hearing on a rezoning 02-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association, submitted by Painter Lewis PLC to rezone 20.54 acres from B2 General Business District to the RA Rural Areas District. Property is located east of the city of Winchester on the west side of US Highway 5017 at the southwest corner of the intersection of Route 5017 and West Parkins Mill Road, Route 644. Property is identified with property identification number 77-A-26A in the Shawnee Magisterial District. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak either for or against this rezoning? Please come forward, give your magisterial district, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Anyone?
Sean Graber, Back Creek Magisterial District. I would petition this board or ask this board that they approve the rezoning and the conditional use permit. I cannot think of a better organization that has worked so hard to use private funds to get this thing off the ground and working, and they are a model for other organizations within our community. So thank you, folks, for bringing it forward.
Anyone else?
Hi, James Freilich from Back Creek District. I guess I have conflict of interest and that I'm an emergency room physician. And if you approve a soccer field, I imagine there'll be some more business towards Valley Health, where I also sit on the Board of Trustees, so that could help us there too, I suppose. I just want to give my support for this motion. I believe that having an active soccer program in a community benefits that community. It's a sport that anyone can play, from the most athletic to the least athletic. There is a crush for field space that I think you're all very aware of. We're asking for the chance to help solve that without an outlay from the county. The private, Winchester United and Bryce together can put together fields that will be used and get some of the congestion off the county fields relieved. We have a few great soccer fields that you have provided in the county over at Sharando Park, and we do appreciate that. Unfortunately, some of the soccer fields over there, which I don't think are long-term meant for soccer use, have hills on them and holes. So it'd be nice to have for our travel soccer teams. It'd be nice if they had fields they could play on, and when people come from other communities to play, we want to represent this county in the best way possible and let them see what we got out here in Frederick County. We are competitive with the Northern Virginia clubs. There are enough kids interested in soccer that happens. I know there might be concerns from some of the surrounding neighbors about what kind of neighbors they'd have. Well, soccer families tend to be affluent. We clean up after ourselves. We are not loud people. The general rule for travel soccer players is to be on the AB honor roll or the A honor roll. I frequently recognize a great deal of names on those the kids that are there. You saw Alex Stanford at the committee meeting, those of you who were there, and she's at the top end of the travel schedule. I have 3 kids in travel. My youngest is there in purple, and I tried to convince her to say something, but I think she's a little bit nervous. We'd just like to ask that you go ahead and approve this motion so that she and the other kids of Bryson United would have a place to play. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Good evening to the board. Hello, my name is Mark Weisbrod. I'm here representing Winchester United as a board member, the director of coaching, and a coach for 2 of our teams. I'm also here as a county resident. I would like to speak to a zoning and conditional use permit proposed by Brysa this evening. I encourage all of the supervisors to support both of these proposals because of how they align with the core values the board has already outlined for itself. It is my belief that these proposals allow you to support and proactively protect the county's ability to steward county funds, and while increasing the quality of services offered within our community. In addition, these proposals afford the Planning Commission options that alleviate already identified needs outlined in the 2030 Comprehensive Plan. This opportunity positively impacts long-range planning and the direction of future growth while promoting plans that ensure the quality of life for future generations. While the members of the board have varying degrees of experience in their current appointments, I would encourage you all to reflect on this opportunity as one which is very different from the majority that have been or will be brought before you. Essentially, Bryce is proposing a park for our community, an area which will neither be purchased, developed, or maintained through public funds. The current need of our Brysa programs already tax the existing fields to the brink of exceeding the maintenance required for the long-term preservation. Beyond that, Brysa and its associates are not the only organizations that use these fields. The need for additional fields exists and continues to compound every season. If the funding source is not an outside organization, then it will eventually have to be addressed through public funds. These proposals proactively support the needs of the community by providing opportunities for recreation and alleviating the perpetuation of a financial burden for the county. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I also stand here before you as a Frederick County resident. Moreover, I'm a product of this community. I attended area schools, participated in area sports, and learned from those in the area willing to mentor and guide me. Some of the most influential relationships that I've developed in my life were started during my own Winchester United experience. They've resulted in lasting friendships that continue to add to the richness of my life. My wife and I feel very fortunate to raise our children here. Between being a proud employee of Frederick County Public Schools and a representative of Winchester United, I've committed my life to contributing to the community that helped raise me. As a vested member of Frederick County, I strongly believe that these proposals will make our county an even better place to live. I appreciate your time and thank you for your consideration.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing. This is Shawnee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move for approval of rezoning 02-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Hess. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Chairman votes aye and the motion passes. Our next item is a public hearing for a conditional use permit 01-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association. Go ahead.
Again, thank you. As you stated, this is a conditional use permit request for the Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association. This request is for 2 parcels of land that total a little over 57 acres located on West Parkins Mill. Now, the conditional use permit would enable the construction and operation of an outdoor soccer complex. So again, the top property on the map on the screen to your left is the piece that was just downzoned, and this application also includes the piece adjacent to it. So just a little history. The Planning Commission held a public hearing for this item at their May 6th meeting. At that meeting, the application was tabled for 45 days. Following that meeting, the applicant did have a community meeting on June 6th to meet with the residents and discuss their concerns. Following that, the Planning Commission held a public meeting for the item at their June 17th meeting, and they did recommend approval of the conditional use permit. So should the Board of Supervisors find this use appropriate, the Planning Commission recommended the following conditions. First, all review agency comments and requirements shall be complied with at all times. Second, an engineered site plan will be submitted to the county and approved prior to the utilization of the fields. Number 3, there's a minimum parking standard of 30 spaces per field, and the access to the site will be gated when the fields are not in use. 4, permanent bathroom facilities will be provided on site. Number 5, 1 permanent concession stand will be permitted. Number 6, no permanent sound or music amplification systems shall be installed on the property. Number 7, all trash shall be removed from the fields daily. Number 8, 1 freestanding sign is permitted. Number 9, site lighting shall conform to the ordinance, and all lights shall be full cutoff and must be turned off by 10 p.m. Number 10, all the fields will be a minimum of at least 75 feet from any adjoining property. Number 11, there will be a double row of evergreen trees, 6 feet in height, planted a maximum of 8 feet on center along any property line that borders a residential dwelling where existing woodlands, which would be a minimum of 50 feet in width, are not present. The screening will be phased as the fields are constructed. And then in addition to that, there will be 3 rows of evergreen trees, still meeting the 6 feet in height, 8 feet on center, planted along the southern and western property lines for parcel 77-A-26, which is the 5-acre residential piece, kind of in the middle. Number 12, wire fencing shall be provided along parcel 77-A-26. That's the school piece. This is the Montessori school parcel. And in addition, there'll also be a gate provided to them to restrict access onto their site. 13, hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 14, the property will have 1 entrance on West Parkins Mill Road, and there'll be no entrances on 50, except for the possibility for an emergency access if approved by VDOT. And number 15, any change of use or expansion will require a new conditional use permit. So with that, I would be glad to answer any questions. And again, Bryce is here if you have, should you have any questions for them.
Questions of staff?
Yes, Ms.
Supervisor Hess?
Yes, sir.
What changes to the conditions have been made in that list since it was last before the Planning Commission?
Are you, from the original application to the Planning
From the last
Commission?
time it was at the Planning Commission?
At the June 17th meeting, the only condition that was changed, there was an addition that night, which was for the additional evergreen screening along the residential piece in the middle, which is for the 3 rows of evergreen trees, and the addition of number 6, which is the installation of a permanent PA system being prohibited. Everything else is the same.
Thank you.
Other questions to staff? Questions of the applicant?
Question of staff.
For who?
Ms. Candace?
Sir.
Yeah, staff. The graphic shows the 2 rows of evergreen trees on the 5-acre parcel as being a specific species. Was that intentional?
No, so it was just an illustrative that may change when the site plan is actually submitted.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now conduct a public hearing on a conditional use permit 01-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association for a commercial outdoor recreational facility. These properties are located east of the city of Winchester on the west side of US Highway 5017 at the southeastern corner of the intersection of Route 5017 and West Parkins Mill Road, Route 644. The properties are identified with property identification numbers 77-A-26A and 77-A-26B in the Shawnee Magisterial District. Is there anyone here who would like to speak either for or against this conditional use permit? If so, please come forward, give your name, magisterial district, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ray Lanham. I'm in the Gainsborough District. I'm here on behalf of Blue Ridge Youth Soccer. I'm actually the chairman for the field committee for the Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association. I wanted to give you a little bit of history on this piece of property and our club. The Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association, BRYSA, is a nonprofit organization that was formed in 1977. BRYSA is the acronym for the recreational arm of the club. Winchester United, founded in the year 2000, is the travel arm of the club. Today, our organization is approximately 1,400 soccer players, ranging in ages from 4 to 18 years old, that play in 2 organized seasons annually. Of these players, 75% are recreational, 25% are travel players. Our teams are community-based and currently practice and play on various Frederick County and Winchester City fields. These fields are made available through the Departments of Park and Recreation. Although the fields have served our club through the past, we are significantly limited to both our ability to grow and our ability to train on the quality of field that is necessary to compete in the travel soccer league. Understanding the constraints, with the current facilities available, we launched an exploratory field committee 3 years ago this past spring. The result of that work, of the committee's work, has put our organization in front of you today. The property located on the southeast corner of West Parkins Mill Road and Route 50 offers the best value and opportunity for growth for our organization and participating members. Our initial request for the conditional use permit was met with some obvious concerns and questions by the adjoining property owners. On June 6, 2015, our organization held a meeting with the community members impacted by the possibility of an outdoor soccer complex. Our intent for holding the meeting was, 1, to let them know who we are and what our intent was for this property. Most importantly, we wanted to hear their concerns and be able to address those concerns. After this meeting, our committee immediately reviewed the request of each individual and the recommendations made by the planning department. As a result, we made alterations to the conditions shown in our CUP request that were reviewed and considered by the Planning Commission prior to their unanimous recommendation to approve the CUP. It is our respectfully request the Frederick County Board of Supervisors approve the conditional use permit for this location. Our organization has always been community-based and will continue to act in this manner. We feel that the development of an outdoor recreational field complex will enhance our current relationship with the Frederick County Parks and Rec Department. And this will be at no financial cost to the county, as this is all privately funded. I appreciate your time and gladly would answer any questions as the applicant.
We'll catch that after the public
Yes, sir.
hearing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Shawnee District.
Mr. Chairman, if I can make a couple comments. First, I just want to commend BRYSA for their efforts to meet with the neighbors, sit down, listen to their comments, and openly talk and discuss with them. I appreciate those efforts. I know the citizens out there also appreciated that, and I thank you for that. The other thing I want to repeat from one of the planning commissioner's comments, this group had a need. They went out, rather than relying on taxpayers and government to provide for them, they went out and provided for themselves. I think it's a great example of them taking charge of their activities and for the good work that they do and the program that they have, so that's much appreciated. So, Mr. Chairman, it's my pleasure to recommend for approval, conditional use permit 01-15 for Blue Ridge Youth Soccer Association.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Lofton. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Chairman votes aye, and the motion passes. Conditional use permit 01-15 is approved. Next is a planning item, rezoning 0415 Abrams Chase, proffer revision. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Get our slide up here. This is a minor proffer revision to a rezoning which occurred about a decade ago. It's a small subdivision. It's off of Sensony Road, just west of Channing Drive. You can see it on the slide there. It's actually two parcels which contain this property. When the original rezoning was approved, it proffered a layout. Let me show you the layout here. It proffered a layout with 13 lots and associated development impact mitigation efforts, basically a cash proffer. The applicant has come back and requested to revise the proffers to make it an age-restricted community. They haven't changed any of the dimensional requirements. It's still 13 lots, but what they have done is, being an age-restricted community, that mitigates the impacts on schools, so they've requested revisions to their cash contribution. What they've done as far as the application goes is they've taken this year's active development, it's actually the 2014 proffer model guidelines, and they have proffered the cash as far as fire and rescue, library, parks and rec. They did not provide a contribution towards schools because through the age-restricted modification, they won't have children, essentially. That is where we are. This is a minor proffer revision, doesn't require public hearing. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and Evan Wyatt is here on behalf of this application.
Questions of staff?
How much are they now proffering,
Well,
monetary-wise?
monetary-wise, if you adopt this as presented, there's $2,800 thereabouts, $2,835 will come to the county. So it's reduced. Originally, it was about $23,000, but when you reduce the school proffer, and then our proffer model's been updated over the years. So they're mitigating everything but the schools. But since there's age restricted, there is no school impact.
Supervisor Fisher.
Mr. Lawrence, just the tax map numbers weren't on every piece there, but I can see I think the interparcel connector must be up to what's 25A parcel there to the west.
Let's see. Is it on this one? Yeah, it's on. No, you're right. I don't have it. It is the parcel to the left.
To the left there. And then the other one was said ingress and egress for 65A, 26A.
That's the parcel.
That little piece on the front?
Yeah, that's that little parcel right there. You can see the hatch. The hatch line is the ingress egress.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, staff?
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Hess.
and follow up on Supervisor Ranson's questions. So the proffer model numbers you're using are the ones that were in effect at the time of the original rezoning or today's rezoning?
Currently. They were in effect when this application was submitted, which was basically 2014 last year. So last week, we implemented our new proffer model numbers. This application is based on last year's models because it was already in process.
Any other questions? Mr. Wyatt, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evan White with Greenway Engineering. I have nothing really to add to the staff report, but if you have questions of me, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions for the applicant? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, this is Redbud.
I would move to amend the proffer statement to restrict the residential use to age-restricted residential uses. Moreover, I'd move to modify the proffer statement to reduce the monetary contribution to offset the impact development.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Fisher. Discussion. Hearing none. Supervisor Ranson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hess.
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Aye.
Supervisor DeHaven.
Aye.
Supervisor Lofton.
Aye.
Supervisor Wells.
Aye.
Chairman votes aye, and the motion passes. Board liaison reports. Are there any?
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Lofton.
if I may, the Extension Leadership Council met last week Although I wasn't able to attend, Mr. Sutphin, our extension agent, sent me some highlights of that meeting that I would like to share with the board and the citizens. As you know, the Virginia Cooperative Extension Service offers a lot of programs, from food and nutrition to finance. Just a couple of things I'd like to highlight. They also deal with the 4-H and the youth in the community. And 12 youth delegates attended the Virginia State 4-H Congress June 15th through the 18th. And while there, 5 of the youth, Emily Whitaker, Natalie Whitaker, Victoria Miller, Cody Bowden, and Faith Mann, were tapped as 4-H All-Stars, and 2 adult volunteers, Cindy and Sonny Lyric, were tapped as honorary 4-H All-Stars. 2 Frederick County youth, Natalie Whitaker and Dell Lyric, were also named to the 2015 Virginia delegation of National 4-H Congress, which will take place in November. So congratulations to all those members. Also, 146 campers and teen counselors will be participating in the Frederick County, Page County 4-H Summer Camp, which will have 255 total participants from both counties. Just a few items about which our Cooperative Extension Service is involved in the community, and especially the agricultural community, which I think speaks well of our youth and those people involved in those programs.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, could I add something to that? We had a department head meeting today, and several different departments who have folks out in the field mentioned that Lyme's disease is on the rise, and there are a proliferation of ticks in the area. And Mark Sutphin from the Extension Office mentioned that they have resources that they can help folks identify what they have, and they have information about how to spot symptoms and the type of bite you have. So I would just encourage folks to be careful about that, and be cognizant.
Can we or somebody related to the extension do some type of press release on the matter?
We could. One of the things that was suggested today was that we put some literature out in the offices where folks come in who may be out in the field working, like the building official's office and so forth, so that they can pick that literature up, but that's a good idea.
Could that
I
also
don't know
be
anything about social media, but I guess if we, somebody
disseminated on the
does.
website and the Facebook
Yeah,
page?
it really,
Yeah.
it'd be important. Anybody else? Board liaison reports. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to citizen comments. This is the portion of the meeting that the board sets aside for citizens to address the board on any topic. Is there anyone who would like to do so? Please come forward, give your name, magisterial district, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Sean Graber, 456 Brill Road, Stark Tannery, Virginia, in the Back Creek District. I've had the opportunity to speak before you gentlemen just about every meeting since January 1st. And in doing so, I've had some pretty blatant concerns. It seems each time that I speak, my numbers get questioned, or I get told to check my figures. So I kind of wondered if it was just me. I went back for the last 12 months and looked at the YouTube videos that's posted here at the board meetings, and I noticed it wasn't just me, that it was many other citizens in the community that were also being asked to check their numbers. So I went back and I looked at some of the numbers that were presented before you by some of the commenters, fellow citizens. And what I noticed was it was very frequent. So I have a couple serious concerns or questions, I guess. The first one is it appears that a couple of you may not know what exactly you're passing, and I'm going to specifically point out Mr. Fisher and you, Mr. Schickel, and you, Mr. Lofton, because you three seem to be the most vocal. Mr. Hess and Mr. DeHaven, I've appreciated how you've been willing to listen. The other three that I pointed out, though, have asked quite frequently to check our numbers. So I have to wonder if either you don't know what is being passed,
Mr. Graber,
or if we are.
this is not a criticize board members. If you have a legitimate item you'd like to bring up, but it's not a critique of the board, so I have to ask you to refrain.
Okay, so you weren't belittling me when you asked those questions? That was my question, that was my concern. Thank you.
Sir. Any Board of Supervisors comments? Supervisor DeHaven?
Mr. Chairman, in light of where we find ourselves with the Russell 150 development and 3 significant revenue sharing approvals and their potential over time to expire, I'd like to ask staff to do an analysis of the potential for transferring those applications to other projects within Frederick County and report back to the board through the Transportation Committee.
Is there a consensus on that?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Certainly, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other Board of Supervisors comments?
Mr. Chairman, has there been any update on the the agricultural land, lost words right now?
Agricultural District, Forestry?
Yes, forestry, land, where we had land use. Has there been any update on what we're doing on that, Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, actually, the Agricultural District Advisory Commission, or committee, I guess, met about 2 weeks ago and has forwarded a recommendation for inclusion of 46 parcels. Next week at the Planning Commission, we're holding the public hearing for that, and it's scheduled to be a public hearing before you all at your August meeting.
Thank you.
Other Board of Supervisors comments?
Mr. Chairman, move we adjourn.
We have a motion by Supervisor DeHaven to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Supervisor Fisher. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. See you.